What's up everybody, you're watching Model Aviator. My name's Adam and welcome to part 2 on the UMX Pitts. Now you may be wondering how in the world you get to 2 episodes on a UMX Pitts. Well, it's an interesting story. If you haven't seen part 1, we'll put a link in the description and at the end of the video where you can check that out. The intention was to take our original 2S powered UMX Pitts out and just shoot a fun flight at the schoolyard with it, and that's exactly what we did. But we had an unexpected crash, and that prompted a couple of decisions. The first was to go out and buy the brand new 3S powered version 2 UMX Pitts. The other was to experiment with something that I've been thinking about for years. Back in the 80s, there was an airshow pilot named Craig Hoskins, I believe his name is. He flew a Pitts, I think it was an S2B, in air shows back then, and he had retrofitted his with gear on top so that at the end of his air show he did an inverted landing. And we thought we'd repair our version 1 and retrofit it with gear and try the same thing. So in this episode of Model Aviator, you're going to see quite a few cool things. We're going to show you a little bit about the hobby shop in Stockbridge, Georgia that we went to buy our version 2 UMX Pitts. We'll do a review on that and compare it a bit to the version 1. Then we'll show you how we modded our version 1, and you will see from the first attempt to the last me trying to land this thing inverted, and let me tell you, it was interesting. So check this out. I don't think you'll be disappointed. All right, we are about to pull in the hobby shop to pick up our UMX Pitts version 2. The hobby shop in Stockbridge. Check it out, Heidi. Don't want to get in the popo's way. Alright, so they have a little bit of everything here. Right here, you actually have some slot car stuff, which is pretty cool. We dip into this room here. This is all RC car stuff, RC car bodies, RC cars, wheels, loaded with everything. There's the Losi 69 Camaro drag racer. Got some of the die-cast cars here in this case. And we move into this room, and this is kind of the airplane room. Got a free flight model there. A bunch of actual kits here. These are stick build kits. Got a section full of those. Some of these kits are as old as I am, believe it or not. It's pretty old. Well, look here, we got boats on this wall. All kinds of cool stuff. And then airplanes in the middle here. And airplanes hanging from the ceiling. This one caught my eye, Heidi. This is a big stick with some kind of a twin. Let's see what it says. Didn't say what kind of twin that is, but it's nice. A bunch of airplanes here. They have an original version 1 of the Carbon Z150. I'm tempted to take that with me, but if I do, my wife will kill me. So, yeah, we're here. We're on a mission. We're here to get a little Pitts, not another 150. Got a train set up here, and a little bit of train stuff along that wall. here. These are all rubber band powered free flight kits, loaded down with them. Got all kinds of paints for plastic models. RC pilots, more than you could ever need. And then here we have the plastic model section. Got cars here. And then if you're around the corner, all the airplanes are over there. As well as some fantasy and sci-fi kits over there. Got one of my favorite racks. Any builder is going to know all about this rack. This is the Midwest rack. That's where you get stuff to either scratch build or fix stuff. I've done a lot of fixing stuff. Got model rockets right there. Lots of stuff hanging up from the ceiling here. Got some ultra micro down here.
Yeah, that way in the back gonna look pretty sharp. I bet that was cool.
Thank goodness. Yeah.
It reawakened the hobby across the board.
So we got home from the hobby shop with our version 2 UMX Pitts, and as you might expect, it was boxed absolutely beautifully. All the Ultra Micros are. They are very, very safe and well kept in those boxes. That's why it's a great idea, if you're so inclined, to keep those for storage as well as transport. That'll keep you from getting a lot of hanger rash, a lot of dings on your Ultra Micros, so that's always a great thing. Now there are some differences in the version 2 versus the version 1. The version 1 UMX Pitts had AS3X, and of course it was 2-cell powered. The biggest thing that you're going to notice is the 3-cell capable motor in the version 2. Now you take a look at this picture, you can see there is a pretty good difference in the size of those motors, and of course the larger motor in the version 2 is capable of running on 3S, which is what I would absolutely suggest. This is the same power system that comes in the new UMX Timber X, and the Timber X is a very powerful airplane to fly. It's making right at pretty much what I would say is the minimum for a 3D plane, but that same prop, that same motor on these 3S batteries, these awesome Spectrum 300 milliamp 3S packs, 30C packs, is very different in the UMX Pitts because this airplane is a full 2 ounces lighter than the Timber X. So the power goes from knocking on 3D plane's door to well into 3D airplane power. Pretty much ridiculous on the UMX Pitts. It is awesome. Our setup is pretty simple. We set the controls up exactly the way we set up our version 1 UMX Pitts, and it did not disappoint. So let's just get to the flying. We're just going to show you the meat and potatoes of this Maiden, the takeoff, the stall test, which was very uneventful, and then our landing. Kind of windy, dark, dreary weekend this weekend, but you get the gist of our first flight with this bird. Now we're at one of our flying fields, and unfortunately the weather this morning didn't improve much, but here we're just doing some basic aerobatics and sport flying with the Pitts version 2. Note all the extra power this thing has. This thing is so locked in, such a good flying airplane. It flies like the version 1 if you pumped it full of steroids. Audibly, you can definitely tell a difference in sound coming from this bigger, stronger motor. Even cruising, it just sounds different than the 2S version. That first hover attempt, I was late with a throttle correction and paid for it. We're going to give it another go here. There's the power we're talking about. It's got a ton of it. So as you can see, from an aerobatic standpoint, all the capabilities of the version 1 and then some. Because of the crazy, stupid, rabid power this thing has, it is awesome. I love this power system. I love these batteries. I love the fact that it's got a normal connector. You can use normal charge leads, normal chargers. It's got a balance lead, so you can use your regular battery checker to see how you're doing cell-wise at the field. I love that. I hope that they make every Ultra Micro this way. The only complaint that I have about this airplane, you will see that there's black Velcro in this airplane. That is the rough Velcro. Well, that's there because I put it there. Now the interesting thing is that is what came in the Timber X. But when I got the UMX Pitts version 2, it had the soft fuzzy part of the Velcro in the airplane, and this is a really trivial complaint. It's really not a big deal. Changing it out was super simple, but I think they should keep it consistent, because obviously we're going to Velcro our batteries according to the first airplane we buy, and every airplane we buy thereafter from the same company that uses the same battery should be Velcroed the same way. So that is my only complaint, and like I said, it's kind of a trivial one, but I just think it wouldn't be much trouble for Horizon Hobby to just make sure that they're all Velcroed the same way, so that however you have your batteries prepared works with everything you buy that uses them. So yeah, that is pretty much it. It is amazing. Love the way it flies. Love the power. What an improvement. I really don't have any use for the Safe. It's not really a beginner's airplane. I think this would make a good second airplane. The ground handling is not that tough, and the AS3X makes it pretty doggone easy to fly, and depending on how you set it up, you can tone it down so that it's not so responsive, or turn it up so that it's very responsive, whatever you want to do. But it is one of the best flying Pitts models out there that's ever been made in foam. The best one is obviously the biggest one out there. That's the FMS Pitts. Now that's my opinion, but I have to tell you, I've flown a lot of Pittses, flown a lot of Kristen Eagles, and all of the small ones are kind of a hot, twitchy mess. And when the version 1 of this thing came out, I could not believe how easy it was to fly, how well it flew. And the version 2, same thing. An intermediate pilot moving into their second airplane after getting pretty competent with a trainer can easily fly this airplane, and that's really saying something. For a Pitts not to be an advanced level airplane, they did good. So now that we've talked about this, let's get to this one. This mod was really fun to do. I was really excited to try this out. I didn't know how it would work. First, let's show you how we did the mod. Not too complicated. We just got a spare set of gear. We'll start at the tail. All we did was tape a spare Pitts tail wheel onto the top of the rudder and bend it back a little bit to just kind of increase the angle of attack. And that's pretty much all there is to the tail wheel. Moving up to the top of the wing, we wanted to set our gear up fairly high, again, so that we could get angle of attack for landing. And so what we ended up doing is using 2 pieces of light ply to slide our gear down into. On the sides of the light ply are 2 carbon fiber rods that go down through the top of the fuselage, just forward of the main fuselage wing strut. That goes down into a spare piece of foam that we glued into the bottom, and that in and of itself was pretty doggone rigid, but we added a couple of flat carbon fiber pieces on top of the wing that we glued and attached to. We just kind of drilled a little half moon shape so that it fits right up against those carbon fiber rods, and we wrapped the ply in red electrical tape just to kind of make it match. And that is pretty much it for the mod, and it works really, really good. As you are about to see, it is a lot more resilient than you would think it is. I was amazed at how tough this is. Was also amazed at how much drag this induced. I thought that it might make the airplane want to climb, and I was correct, it did. So we're going to show you a little bit of footage from a late rainy afternoon at the schoolyard, where we simply maidened this thing in more wind than we really wanted to mess with, trying to land it inverted. Then we went back to the field the next morning and tried the inverted landings. Check this out. Here, the same wet, windy afternoon at the schoolyard, we're going to give the version 1 with the gear on top of it a maiden. It flew very different, and with the mods needed to be trimmed quite a bit different. it was climbing quite a bit and yawing to the right even more. Some of that was the crosswind, but a lot of it was the fact that I had to trim the airplane differently. So basically all we did was trim it and then pretty much got it over with. And here is our landing. Just happy to get it down where we're about to attempt an inverted landing this afternoon. So fast forward, this is the next morning and we are about to show you every single attempt we made to land this thing inverted, the good and the bad. And that was close, and alarmingly that is full power that I was climbing out with there. And we flipped it. You're going to see a lot of that. Oh yeah, that's a running theme. Almost got it that time. So now I've got the bright idea that I'm going to take off inverted, trying to get used to the backwards rudder on the ground. That's really unnatural feeling. And that is a talentless punch and go. That's a big time cheat, but at least I didn't flip it again. And the very next attempt, yep, flipped it again. Now it comes in right to left. I'll say one thing, it's tough. The mod turned out to be stronger than I thought it would be. Another sketchy inverted takeoff there. And right back into the next attempt. So close, but I just can't seem to get one right. Wow. some of these are closer calls than they might look like, given how down on power this thing is. And there we go, finally got one. It's not perfect, but that's as good as it got. So the brilliant idea here on this taxi back is to take off, roll it over, and then land it right side up. And it was all kinds of sketch, but we're going to call that a win. Taxiing this thing inverted is like trying to take a cell phone away from a teenager. Just when you thought those inverted takeoffs couldn't get any sketchier. Well, we tried our best to crash it. Came really close. That is so much harder than it looks like it is. Man, I'm just going to leave it here like that. That's a great example of how this went. Well, there you go. We did it sort of. Not as smooth as I would have liked for it to be, but not too bad. You know, the crazy thing is, I can take a 3D plane and inverted Harrier that thing all day long, and the backwards rudder inputs are pretty much automatic. For some reason, landing this airplane and not being in Harrier mode, I just could not wrap my head around correcting with the rudder on the rollout properly. I got it close to right a couple of times, but never as good as I really wanted to. I was really surprised at how hard that was. This thing does not fly the same, obviously, with this gear. It's a lot of drag. It's added some weight. And of course, it is the less powerful of the two. And my batteries are not super new. They've got a lot of flights on them. So at times, a lot of those climb outs that you saw, like I said in the narration, that was full power. That's everything this thing had. It was just a lot harder than I thought it would be, but I'm proud that we tried it. I'm proud that we got it as good as we did. I haven't really seen anybody do this before. We hope you enjoyed it. Hope you enjoyed checking out the hobby shop and our review on the version 2. Please like, comment, and subscribe. We'll leave a link in the description to make it easy for you to get to the version 2 if you'd like to order yourself one. Take care of yourselves and your loved ones. Happy flying, and we will see you next week.